Mike Pence, once again, talks big and bad about he stood with the Constitution over a man, that the country is more important than one person's profession. And then when posed the question, would you support Trump again if he was the nominee? Well, watch the tap dance. Here it is.
A few days ago, the former president had this to say about you. He said, quote, "I feel badly for Mike Pence, who is attracting no crowds, enthusiasm, or loyalty from people who, as a member of the Trump administration, should be loving him. The VP had power that Mike didn't understand." So you hear there, he is still claiming to this day that you had the power to reject electoral votes. And his lawyers are suggesting reasonable people can disagree on whether you had that authority.
Well, Dana, President Trump was wrong then and he's wrong now. I had no right to overturn the election. Very clear that under the Constitution of the United States, Article 2, my responsibility as Vice President, as President of the Senate, was to preside over a joint session of Congress where the Constitution says the electoral votes shall be opened and shall be counted. I really do believe that people all across this country are coming to realize that more every day. Although, as I've told you before, Dana, over the last 2 years, I've been deeply humbled how many Americans have come up to me and expressed their appreciation. I mean, I truly do believe that we kept our oath to the Constitution that day. But the American people deserve to know that President Trump, asked me to put him over my oath to the Constitution, but I kept my oath and I always will. And I'm running for president in part because I think anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States.
Wow. Here's the thing. The Americans Pence is talking about, those people who have thanked him, he's talking about Democrats and progressives, not Republicans, okay? Now you heard what he said. A man that would do what Donald Trump has done, they don't deserve to be president of the United States. Well, okay, this should be an easy one then. Here it is.
You have said before, you said again just a few minutes ago that anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president. If he is the nominee, could you support him?
Well, Dana, you guys like to talk about the polls on CNN a lot. Everybody does, but look, it's awful early here. I mean, we're still about 6 months away from Iowa, and then right after that, New Hampshire. And I got to tell you, I really do believe that there's a lot of Republicans that know we not only need new leadership in the White House, but we need new leadership in the Republican Party. I mean, we can't endure 4 more years of the failed and feckless leadership of President Joe Biden and the Democrats in the Senate. We've got to turn this thing around. And everywhere I go, more and more people are coming up. More people are understanding, I think, the stand that we took that day. And even the minority of Republicans that have had a different view of what I did that day have been coming up to me and
so does that mean you can rule
appreciation
out?
For which I'm humbled. But I got to tell you, everywhere I go, people are telling me, thank you for talking about the issues we're dealing with and not what the media is talking about any given day of the week.
You can say right here that you will rule out voting for Donald Trump again for president?
Dan, I will tell you, I don't think we'll have to make that decision. I'm confident I'll be able to support the Republican nominee, especially if it's me.
I need you to understand what you just saw and what he's actually saying. He said very clearly that Donald Trump wanted him to violate the very foundation of democracy. Very clearly, he articulates that Donald Trump wanted him to violate the very Constitution itself. And that Pence stood with the Constitution over one man because, well, he's not a coward. He has guts. He's strong. But if Trump happens to get power again, all of a sudden, Pence cannot answer the question, is the man more powerful, more important, more imperative than the US Constitution? He sidestepped, ducked, dodged, deny, and deflect. He can talk bold in one context, but becomes quiet as a church mouse on another. The reality is, if Mike Pence actually took a moral stand, it would be no problem answering the very easy follow-up question. You just said a man like that should never be president of the United States. She didn't even ask you, would you endorse him? The question was, would you vote for him? And you could not even answer that question. Sir, there's a reason why you have no crowds. It's not because you're anti-Trump. Hell, Chris Christie anti-Trump, he got crowds. He at least, in some polls, he's at 10%. You are a very traditional politician, sir. You talk out of both sides of your mouth and people know it. Now, granted, all of you guys do this. Some do it better than others. But Pence, come on, man. The guy tried to have you assassinated. You did not stand with the Constitution. You stood with Dan Quayle. You tried to do exactly what Trump said needed to be done in order to secure his power. But you didn't do it. Let me tell you why you really didn't do it. Because you always wanted to be president of the United States. Now, you took the job for that reason. Now, if you were a thinking man, you would have supported the impeachment process. That would have made you president pretty quickly if you could have got a few Republicans on your side. But you decided to hedge your bets, hope that he would not get reelected. Of course, you're not going to encourage him to remain in power, but damn, sir, you just said the man has no business being president, and then you cannot articulate if you would simply not vote for the guy. All right, Jeff, am I seeing it wrong here?
What I'm seeing is somebody outside of a venue tap dancing with like a little suitcase open so people can come up and give him money or something like that. I question if anyone is coming up to him, thanking him, let alone who's thanking him. Because I think you said this earlier, it's probably Democrats and progressives, maybe even liberals who are thanking him, if anyone's doing so. Shout out to Dana Bash for asking repeated, consecutive follow-up questions, by the way. Mike Pence is actually, you know what? There's this TikTok I saw the other day from this guy, I think his name was Nathan Rio. He talked about how the evangelical fundamentalist movement doesn't embrace Mike Pence, even though Mike Pence is who they think they would like, but they sure do love Trump, and he has no resemblance of their movement. And I think that's fascinating. So I think he's gonna try to stick with that moving forward, but I cannot see it working.
Yeah, we shall update as it develops.